Hey everybody, welcome back. So in the last video, I just want to do a quick recap. We talked about the M in mindset. So that M being miracles, realizing, truly, deeply realizing that your heart starts beating before your brain develops. You have that innate power, that innate ability to love and to really give yourself that compassion, to decide that you are worthy, decide that you are enough, decide that you matter. Because once again, the odds of you being here, you, me, and every single person out there is 1 in 400 trillion. One thing different, a split second different, and you are not here. Your heart would not have started beating before your brain ever developed. And remember, that third part of miracle was that we have this big, beautiful brain that's only trying to protect us, trying to keep us safe. That's all it's doing. Our brain is trying to keep us safe. It's trying to protect us. Yeah, it does that in weird ways. It does that by creating these patterns, by creating these belief systems, because then you don't have to put the effort in to think something. It just goes automatically. It becomes a habit, more or less. So what could the I possibly be about? What could the I mindset in this 8-video series be all about? You may be thinking, I don't know. Interview, innerness, close. It is your perspective, your interpretation. The I is for interpretation. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is, what am I making this mean? Or what story am I making up? So let's say that somebody, your husband, wife, whatever, goes out, daughter goes out, and they say they're gonna be back by 5 p.m. and they're not. And all of a sudden you start to go through this scenario in your head and you start to make up things. You start to make up a story based on the past, based on the conditioning, based on the patterning that you've gone through, based on the fact that your brain, again, is trying to keep you safe. So our interpretation is everything. What am I making this mean? What story am I making up? And when we can be objectively truth about that, when we can say like, hey, Susie, this is the story I'm making up. You said this, I heard this is what I made it mean. Let's agree on facts and go from there and build from there, build our conversation from there. Now, one thing that needs to be said here is that it's important that you are both open to conversation, okay? Open to going into those difficult places. When one person closes a door, it's very hard to get in, right? You're gonna see all kinds of reactions. Silent treatment, freaking out. There's lots of ways that it comes back, like that people shut their door and push other people away, putting judgment on people, guilt tripping, shame tripping, all that kind of stuff. So again, back to that interpretation. I want to go on a different route with this next part. So the first part of the interpretation is, what am I making this mean? Or what story am I making up? And then having an authentic conversation around that. And the second part of this interpretation is, I'm going to challenge your thinking a little bit, okay? So we're gonna look at all the events in our lives, but also all the events in the world. And we're going to, very briefly in this video alone, go through, is it positive, negative, or is it neutral, okay? Remember that this video, the I in mindset, is all about our interpretation, what we are perceiving. And what we perceive is often based upon our past, our conditioning, the beliefs we had, the thoughts that we had, the societal beliefs that came from society and our parents and the law and how it's supposed to be, right? So let's take anything, for example, okay? I know there's so many things out there that we could use. We could use the worst possible things, the things that most people are going to deem as negative, things like murder and rape and that kind of thing. And while they are horrible, yes, I will fully agree with you, they are horrible events in life, but let's try to look at that as the event itself is neutral, okay? And why is it neutral? Well, it's neutral for this reason. There's gonna be many people that view it, let's take murder for example, okay? Many people are gonna view it as negative. But for the person actually doing the murdering, it might be positive in that moment, based on the tools that they have, the resources they have, what they know, they are acting in a way that gives them significance, it gives them connection, it gives them power, it gives them certainty, okay? It gives them these basic human needs. We all have these basic human needs, and we're going to achieve them one way or another, even if it's at the expense of ourselves or other people. So we could take an event like murder or terrorism. Most people, depending on what side you're on, are going to see it as negative, but there will be people, based on their conditioning, that will see that event as a positive thing. That's the biggest challenge we have with interpretation. It's to allow and create space for both to exist. It's tough. It is. But know that if you are open to allowing that, if you are open to seeing different perspectives, to seeing and having different interpretations, then your life can truly shift. Your daily thoughts will shift, and your subconscious thoughts, the thoughts that you don't know you're thinking, but you've been thinking them for years and years and years, will start to shift. You'll have a fundamental shift. It's the way we see things, our interpretation. So something happens, somebody leaves 25 cents in a cart, okay? Your interpretation might be, oh, what a nice person. But your interpretation could also be, what is wrong with them? It's 25 cents. They should be picking it up and taking it, and everything counts. Money, you have to take your money, right? There's going to always be multiple interpretations. And the goal of this video is for you to sit down with yourself, look at a variety of different life events in your life, and try to go to a place where they are neutral. And then use the tools that you have now and the tools that you had in the past, the ability to question and start to break things down a little bit more. Say, okay, in the past I would have viewed this as a very negative thing. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's just try to, once again, open up our interpretation. Open up our perspective. And that's it. And we go from there. So again, these video series aren't meant to bombard you with things. I just want to open up your perspective a little bit so that you can interpret a little bit differently, or at least be open to seeing new interpretations, to exploring new avenues. So until the next video, I'll see you later. The I is interpretation, the M is the miracles we are, and N is what goes in the mouth. See you then.